All right, let's get started. This is Ed Weir, former manager of the Social Security Administration. I help people throughout the country make sure they get everything they can from Social Security, retirement benefits, spouse benefits, survivor benefits, Medicare, Medicaid. Today's topic, I'm going to talk about for about 10 minutes about working while receiving Social Security benefits, retirement, spouse, survivor benefits, disability benefits. Should take about 10 minutes. I'm going to refer you to a few longer videos I've done. I've done close to 700 videos already on all things Social Security to make sure you get everything you're entitled to, you and your family. This is also a live Q&A. So if you're watching this later, you'll see that the video is about an hour long. I don't spend an hour, talking about working in Social Security. We're talking about working for about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to open it up for anybody that has questions on all of those issues, and I will answer all your questions for about an hour. So we'll get to as many as we can in the hour. If you're watching this later, make sure you subscribe, and that way if you come back, you get some strange letter from Social Security, or you need to help a friend navigate the bureaucracy, you know where to find help. Okay, enough stalling. Let's get right into today's topic, working and collecting Social Security benefits. Like I said, this is going to be retirement and disability. All right, early retirement. If you are going to file for your retirement benefits early, if there are regular benefits on your record, if you're looking at spouse benefits, 62 years old. Right? If you're looking at surviving spouse benefits, you can start surviving spouse benefits as early as 60 years old, but they all have the same work limitations. Social Security was designed back in 1935 to replace your work earnings, but if you're still working, that's why there are these work limitations. This year, if you're under your full retirement age, your limit is $22,320. Anything over that, Social Security will hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. Okay. And then once the year you hit your full retirement age, that pretty much triples. This year it's 59,000 and some change. And then anything over the 59,000, Social Security holds back $1 for every $3 you go over. And then once you hit your full retirement age, whichever that is, 66 and 8 months, 67, whatever the case may be, then you can make $1 billion a month, and it doesn't affect your Social Security benefits at all. Well, it just might affect your Social Security benefits, because if you continue to work and pay into FICA, Social Security, because even after you start receiving your Social Security benefits, you are still going to pay FICA if you're working. You don't pay FICA on your Social Security benefits. That would be, kind of just an endless cycle. Taxes is a whole different issue, regular income taxes. But in terms of if you continue to work, if you're 70 years old and you're working, if you're 80 years old and you're working, you're 90 years old and you're working, you're paying into FICA through your W-2 or, through your net income of your self-employment, you're paying into that. And if that's one of your high 35 years, because Social Security determines your benefit amount by your high 35 years of earnings. So if that's one of your high 35 years of earnings, what happens is you do your taxes, you notify the IRS notifies Social Security looks at the amount for last year and say, hey, this is Bob or Jane's one of her high 35 years. So they kick out one of the low ones, add that new one in there, recalculate, and your benefit gets increased. And that's 100% automatic. That's different than the COLA, the cost of living allowance. So every year you could conceivably receive your COLA, whichever it is, 2%, 3%. I would argue it should be 2% more than it is, but that's another thing we're trying to solve. But so you get your COLA increase. That usually happens, almost always happens since the 1970s, in January. The increase based on your earnings, that takes a little bit longer because you have to file your taxes and all that kind of stuff. But if you're entitled to $5 or $10 or $15 or $20 more per month, they will give you that back pay back to January if that's one of your high 35 years. Okay. All right. So there's a monthly earnings limit and an annual earnings limit. When you first file for your benefits, your Social Security benefits, a lot of people are missing money out there because they don't realize this. If you're a regular viewer, we find money for people all the time, millions and millions and millions of dollars every single week. So Basically, if you are working, let's say you're working and you made $1 billion up until now. It's August. You made $1 billion from January until July. And you're like, I'm 62, I'm 63, I can't retire because I'm way over the limit, $22,320. Doesn't matter. If you essentially stop working, stop making $1 billion a month starting September or August, then you can start your benefits. It doesn't matter what you received before you started your benefits. Once you start your benefits, if you start your benefits in August, if you stay under the first month, you're under $1,860. And you're like, what's $1,860? Well, it's $22,320 divided by 12. So 1860, the first month you're under 1860, you can start your benefits and there's no penalty. There's no $1 for every $2, even though you made $1 billion before that. Doesn't matter. So that's the monthly test. You can only do that 1 year, the year you start your benefits. And the next year, you have to stay under the annual earnings limit until you hit your full retirement age. And once you hit your full retirement age, you can go back to making $1 billion a month, whatever the case may be. And it doesn't matter. Actually, after you hit your full retirement age, if you do not receive your benefits, every month you wait. You don't have to wait. A lot of people think that they have to wait till their birthday to get that increase, or anniversary, or whatever the case may be. No, every month you wait. 62 in 1 month, 62 in 2 months, 62 in 3 months. Every month you wait to receive your Social Security benefits, your benefits increase all the way until you hit your full retirement age and beyond. Beyond that, you get delayed retirement credits. It's 8% per year all the way until you're 70. And there's a trick that pretty much nobody knows. If you go into the Social Security office, they probably won't know it either. It's called voluntary delayed retirement credits. You can be receiving your Social Security benefits, and then when you hit your full retirement age, let's say 67 years old, you say, oh, I just cashed out a 401k, or I got an inheritance or something. I would really like for my monthly benefit amount to increase, but I'm locked in, because once you're essentially locked in, you continue to receive those benefits. That's your reduced amount. But that when you hit your full retirement age, you can actually stop your benefits until you hit 68, 69, 70, and then start your benefits again, and you get that 8% per year increase. A lot of people don't realize that. And you can also stop your benefits pretty much any time. Kind of suspend or not receive payments. So if you're 63 years old, so you file your benefits at 62 because you tired of your job, so you quit, and after about a year, you say, well, no, I got a good job offer, but I'm receiving Social Security benefits, so I guess I can't take it. No, just call Social Security and say, hey, I'm going to be way over the annual limit. I'm going to make $60,000, $70,000 next year, and they will suspend your benefits. You won't get those checks. But you're not going to lose those benefits necessarily. You're going to lose those checks, but this is called ARF, adjusted reduction factor. So let's say you take your benefits 30 months early. So your benefit amount, your monthly benefit amount, is reduced by 30 months. You took it 30 months early. And then after 10 months, you decide you want to go back to work. You call up Social Security and they withhold your checks because you're making way over the annual earnings limit. And then when you hit your full retirement age, the computer system, Social Security computer system, automatically looks at that and say, hey, Bob is getting a check that's been reduced by 30 months, but he only took 10 months of those checks. We withheld the other 20. So that's where the adjusted reduction factor comes in, where the computer system going forward automatically, your check is automatically reset to the 10 months. So you're only getting a 10-month reduction versus a 30-month reduction because you didn't take those 20 months. And that's 100% automatic. You don't have to do anything on that whatsoever. There's one final way for people that, decide to change their mind and go back to work. If you start your benefits and within a 12-month period, you want to take a restart, a mulligan, you can call up Social Security and say, yeah, it's within 12 months. I shouldn't have filed. I want to go ahead and completely withdraw my application. But if you withdraw your application, it's like it never happened before. It never happened. and you received all that money, so you have to pay all that money back. You can only do that within 12 months. So you withdraw your application, you pay all that money back, and it's like you never filed. So there's three ways you can kind of suspend or stop or delay your benefits. One is notify Social Security and they withhold your checks, which will be readjusted later. Within the 12-month period, you can pay everything back and completely withdraw, or you can kind of suspend your benefits, delay your voluntary delayed retirement credits once you hit your full retirement age. So those are three ways you can kind of work and still get Social Security and all the rest of it. People ask, okay, what is work? What are we talking about? Or income? What counts as that $22,320? It's actual work. If you're getting an inheritance or a pension or some type of judgment or alimony, that doesn't count because that's not work. It's only W-2 wages actually working or net income from business. So people say, well, what about gambling? Little tricky there. If you're a professional gambler and that's your job, those are your earnings. That's your job. What about selling real estate? If you just selling your home or you've got another spare home or vacation home that you're selling, no. If you're a realtor and that is your business is to buy and sell home and that's your job as a business, then that counts as income. So there's a little bit of gray area there in some of those things. But unearned income, inheritance, pensions and stuff like that doesn't count. It's only actual work. What about disability? I did two videos. Let me pop them up there. I did these two videos. You can check them out. They're longer videos on Social Security and disability. So we're talking about disability in terms of Social Security disability insurance, which you pay the FICA tax in for, and then SSI. SSI is a welfare-based program, and you can get SSI based on disability or being what Social Security calls aged, 65 and older. And you can work while you're receiving disability, and you can work while you're receiving SSI, but SSI, a lot of limitations. Disability insurance, same type of thing. Disability, because Social Security defines disability as the inability to work substantially. So you can still work a little bit. There's called the substantial gainful activity. Anytime you go over 1550, then you watch my videos on that. There's a lot more details, trial work periods, extended period of eligibility, unsuccessful work attempts. It gets into some crazy stuff. And one thing that a lot of people are losing money on is they have been receiving disability benefits and they don't realize that their disability benefits stop when they hit their full retirement age. They don't stop in terms of the check stops. They're just converted from disability benefits to retirement benefits. So nobody in the country is receiving disability after their full retirement age. Everybody is switched from disability. So basically the check comes out of the disability trust fund. And once you hit your full retirement age, it comes out of the retirement trust fund. Same amount, same check amount, same payday, goes in the same direct deposit. People don't even realize it happens. People call up all the time and say, yeah, I'm 80 years old and I'm receiving disability. No, your disability stopped, pretty much a couple of decades ago. And they say, no, I'm still getting my check. Yeah, that's a retirement check. And they're like, I really like to work but I'm scared they're going to stop my disability. No, you're not on disability. You are on retirement benefits. And because your retirement benefits you're after your full retirement age, you can go back to making $1 billion a month and it doesn't matter anymore because you're no longer on disability. You're no longer getting those disability reviews, the CDRs, the continuing disability reviews. Social Security doesn't care about your work any way, shape, or form. So once you hit your full retirement age, you're completely free to do whatever you want to do. All right. So if you have any other questions, I've done again, check out the longer videos on disability and all that. And let's see here. All right, let's get into questions. If you're just here for the working, then have a great one. Make sure you subscribe and share and all that kind of good stuff. But if you're here for the questions, just type them into chat and let's get to the first one. Charles, what's up, Charles? I've been watching your videos here and happy to have some explain this stuff to where it makes some sense. Can't wait for today's lesson. Oh, okay, good. Hopefully it made sense, what I talked about today. I've learned so much from listening to Dr. Ed. I will be turning 65 next month. And thanks to Dr. Ed and his team, I am all set up. Good. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's so many bad actors out there. I've decided to, it's one of those old things. If you can't get it done, you just do it yourself type thing. So I put together a team that can help people with Medicare and the Affordable Care Act, Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, dental, vision, burial insurance. So if you need any help, just call that number there, email me, and I can put you in touch with a team in your particular state that works your state, and they can help you out. I received disability update report. Now my anxiety has peaked. As of recent, I'm still dealing with new heart issues and disc disease, progressive, along with many. Disability update report. Yeah, I don't think that shouldn't be a CDR, a continuing disability review, because they've suspended CDRs until the end of the fiscal year because of the fact that Social Security is at a 50-year staffing low. So not sure what level that is, but same as always, please, my philosophy is fill it out, return it, and forget about it. All right, forget about it, complete it, and forget about it. So you got the document. Just go ahead and fill it out to the best of your knowledge. If it doesn't apply, just put doesn't apply, and make a copy of it, return it, and then forget about it. So Social Security does a terrible job, or they do a really good job stressing people out on stuff like that. All right. Let's see. Does anyone actually read the report, or is it just put in the computer? Um, it really depends. As I've talked about on these CDRs, a continuing disability reviews, it's a budget-driven issue. Again, I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and unfortunately, I was part of this nightmare too, where Congress allows they allocate a certain budget every year for a couple of special workloads. One of those is the disability review, which is good. Make sure people are still disabled and still entitled to those benefits and everything. But the problem is the way the system works is each office is given X amount of money, and therefore they have to do X amount of these reviews. So let's say if you have to do your quota every month, you have to do 100 every month. If you send out 100 of these letters, these packets to people, you're not going to get 100 back. You're going to get like 50 back because people move or they don't return it, and then you didn't fill your quota, and therefore everybody and their mother comes down and harasses you. Yes, me included. So what everybody does is they have to send out 200 to make sure that they get that 100. So if you're part of that second 200, they may work it, they may not. And so, yeah, the whole system is kind of messed up in that respect. But so that's why I say just, when you get it, fill it out and then forget about it. Let's see. What are the four letters FIQU so I can get my full earnings report? Um, the full earn. I'm not sure about FIQU. You're probably talking about the SEQI and the DEQI, DEQY. So the SEQI is a kind of a summary of your earnings query, and the DEQI is the detailed one. That's the one that you get. Like if you worked in 1982, this is how much you paid in there, but this is the name of the company that you paid in. This is the name of it. This is the address of the company. This is the EIN, the employer identification number of the company, and all the rest of it. And Kathleen, remember on those, I always recommend people check their earnings record to make sure, because that's how Social Security determines how much money you're going to make for the rest of your life. Go into SSA.gov and set up an account and check your earnings record. Because if it's wrong, you're going to get the wrong amount of benefits, your spouse, surviving benefits, whatever, for the rest of your life. So tell everybody to make sure they go in there and check to make sure the earnings record is correct. If you want to get it doesn't give you a whole heck of a lot of detail. So if you want the more detailed one, if you have a particular year that's in dispute, then you can request Social Security and get a more detailed one. But be careful, because most people don't know about that. And so not many people go down there, and the frontline employees kind of mess it up, and they say, yeah, that'll be $100 or something. What Social Security charges for is if you're going to get a job at, usually it's Metro Police Department or something, right? The police department or whatever fire department requires kind of a background check. So they send those people down to Social Security to get a 10-year work history. And Social Security has determined that has nothing to do with us. That's not, you're not filing for retirement or anything. That's just something you want for another purpose. So they charge for that. Okay. They charge over $100 for 3 pieces of paper. But anyway, hey, so if you ask for that, they're probably going to say, yeah, that's going to be $100. And what you do is you say, no, this is a program related request. I am requesting this because I am receiving retirement benefits, or I am about to receive retirement benefits or disability benefits or whatever. And I looked online and I see a missing year, and I want a more detailed, a printout of that particular year so I can see if I can find those earnings and get those earnings taken care of and stuff like that. So make sure they don't charge you. Let's see. Yesterday I had tons of questions I wasn't able to get to. So today I'm going to kind of try to see if I can help new people that I've never seen here before. So if I skip some people, I apologize. I'm going to try to get to as many new people as I see here. Kate, I don't think I've seen Kate here before. How does continuing to work past 70 impact benefit check? Is the 35-year period changed? Nope, it's for the rest of your life. So if you're 100 years old and that's one of your high 35 years, next year your benefit will be recalculated. That's automatic, and you'll get a benefit increase. Does this mean full retirement benefit changes for purposes of benefits keyed off number? Yeah, and the same type of thing. Yes, if your benefits increase, basically that changes your PIA. Your PIA is your primary insurance amount. That's your benefit amount at your full retirement age. That's the base amount where everything is determined. If you file for early retirement, it's reduced, 62, 30% of your PIA. If you do your delayed retirement credits, then you get 24% above and beyond your PIA. So your primary insurance amount is that primary insurance amount. And if you work and pay more into Social Security, and that's one of your high 35 years, your PIA will increase. And if anybody is receiving benefits on your record, their benefit will increase. A spouse, a surviving, well, can't be a surviving spouse because you can't work and be, anyway. But divorced spouses, children, anybody that's receiving benefits on your record, if you work and your PIA increases, everybody else's benefits increase as well. Today, I begin year 14 as a caregiver to my mom. I have received no income for that the last 13 years. I turned 65 in December. Is there any work credit or other benefit for caregivers? No, unfortunately. Yeah, I get this question all the time. Caregiver type stuff. Is there any benefits for it? And unfortunately, no. Social Security really doesn't have anything. I wish they did. So the only place you could go to would be, state, counties. They have. I know some states, was it IIHS in California, where they pay someone to go in rather than the states, finding someone and putting an institution or some type of home or something like that. They pay someone to go in and take care of that person. And if that person that goes in there and takes care of that person happens to be a relative, doesn't matter. You can get income for doing that, but I would definitely check out your particular state. I know California, Colorado, Florida, some other ones do it. So I would definitely check it out. But if you're turning 65, remember, if you don't have health insurance from work, then you need to sign up for Medicare, health insurance from your work or your spouse's current work. And if you have health insurance from current work, that health plan, your group health plan that you work for, has to have 20 or more employees. If it doesn't, then you definitely need to get part A and part B. And then you have to figure out what you're going to do for all the supplements and to cover all the gaps. So if you need help, give us a call, email me, and I'll have someone reach out to you. LD, will the work limitation rule also apply to someone whose income is tax exempt, even exempt from Social Security taxes? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how you came up with that. Where can I sign up for that tax exempt? Yeah, yeah, Social Security, if it's based on work, whether you pay taxes on it, like if you're a pastor of a church or something like that, and you don't pay taxes because it's a religious organization, it's still considered work. So old hippie gypsy. I'm on SSDI. I'm working as an elector in this November election. How will can this affect your benefit, my benefits? Yeah, if remember, you have the trial work period. So in the trial work period, you can work 9 months and make $1 billion a month, and it doesn't affect your Social Security benefits at all. And it's not necessarily 9 consecutive months. So you can work, a couple of months during this election, and then next year work a couple of months during another election, or whatever the case may be, and then make as much money as you want, and it doesn't affect anything. The trigger month for a trial work period is not the SGA, the substantial gainful activity, which is this year is $1,550. It's the trigger month for a trial work period month is $1,110 this year. So if you're under $1,110, then nothing doesn't matter at all. If you make under that, no issues at all. If you go over the 1110, then that month is a trial work period month, and you have 8 more of those. Isn't Medicare all parts voluntary but extortive in nature? All parts voluntary. Well, you have to pay your FICA taxes all those decades. And then later, when you turn 65, if you don't want that money back, then sure, you can decide not to. But if you change your mind later and you don't sign up at 65 and you said, well, I don't want it, I don't want to get my money back that I paid into it. So, but then later when you turn 70 and you didn't have health insurance from work, then Social Security is going to charge you 50% penalty, because it's 10% per every 12 months you did not sign up. And that's forever. All right, another new person I don't recognize. My SSI question on my application now asking me, are your illnesses, injuries, or conditions related to work in any way? I am not working due to migraines, headaches, depression. Not sure how to answer. Yeah, it sounds like a no. Yeah. So did you fall? They want to see if this is a workers' comp type issue, to see if you're eligible for workers' comp, which may or may not affect your Social Security disability benefits. But if you're getting workers' comp because where you worked at, the guy next door gave you migraines, and therefore you're filing for workers' comp because that person gave you some. So yeah, this is basically asking for a workers' comp type of stuff. So that if you fell on the job, you go, yeah, I fell on the job, and that's why my back is all messed up, and so. But it doesn't sound like that would be normally a workers' comp, a work injury. Been on disability since 2015. I try to avoid the names of company and try to stay neutral there. Had this company since then. I will turn 65 October 9th. Had breast cancer, thyroid cancer. Will I be able to change to original Medicare, or am I stuck? So been on disability. Okay. All right. Yes. This is good. So Heartbeats has been on disability. And unfortunately, in most states, people that are under 65 who receive Medicare obviously are on disability. That's how they got Medicare, is being on disability for 2 years. And in most states, the states don't make health insurance, Medicare supplement plans, provide those plans to people under 65, because the health insurance companies, convince the politicians to not let them, not make them do that, because, hey, these people are under 65, they're on disability, it's going to cost a lot of money. Don't make us give those people insurance type thing. So that's, yeah. Anyway, don't get me started. But now that you're 65, you've been on a Medicare Advantage plan all these years, because that's the only thing you can get in your state. But now you're 65, you're in that golden window. So you can get whatever you want. They can't charge you extra. They can't deny you. They can't ask you medical questions, nothing. They'll ask you if you smoke. That's about it, depending on your state. So yeah, you're good. You can definitely return to original Medicare. Obviously, I wouldn't stay there, just original Medicare, because there's so many gaps. Most important, that 20% Part B coinsurance, that if you have $100,000 surgery, you have to cough up $20,000. So I assume you're talking about returning to original Part A and Part B, and then getting a Medicare supplement so you don't have any prior authorizations. You don't have to worry about networks anymore. You don't have to worry about insurance companies saying this, that, or the other. Insurance company has no relevance whatsoever anymore. But you also need a Part D, a prescription drug plan. But yes, absolutely. If reach out to your broker or health Medicare insurance broker agent, and they can help you out. Or if you need help, email me there and say, hey, Ed, I live in this state. I'm going to be 65 here soon. I want to get out of my Medicare Advantage. Here's my phone number. Have your team call me up and we can go through all your options. GC Slade, I'm working with a high income and plan to retire at full retirement age. My wife doesn't work and wants to take her Social Security benefit now. Will her Social Security be highly taxed to my income? Yeah, I don't do taxes. Um, all right, so let's see here. That's what a lot of people do. The lower income starts those benefits. If she's not working and the annual earnings limit is not an issue, start her benefits. Reduced doesn't matter, because once you file, then she files a spouse claim if your benefits are twice her benefit amount. So if hers is $400 and yours is 1,000, then she can get up to $500. So she'll get her $400 plus another extra $100 from you. It'll be reduced because if she files early. But yeah, this is called the split strategy, and that's what a lot of people do. The lower earning spouse just starts those benefits, starts getting that money coming in, and then when you file, she files a spouse claim and gets those extra benefits. But if you're a high income, remember that I don't know if you have Medicare or not, but if you have Part B, if you're married, I assume, if you're making over $206,000, then you're going to get that extra Part B penalty, or not a penalty, an extra premium. That's called the IRMA. However, if you get that, and because it's based on 2 years ago, and you've since stopped working since that time, then you just fill out a form. It's called a SSA 44, and you return it, and they get rid of that extra premium there. So yeah, in terms of taxes, yeah, I don't do taxes. Sorry. Been trying to cancel my subscription to the IRS for decades. All right, let's see here. What is early retirement earnings upper limit of earnings, including your Social Security income? And $22,320, and it doesn't include your Social Security income. Karen, I'm currently getting disability retirement from OPM. If I'm approved for Social Security disability, will they deduct from money from my Social Security? Won't, but I'd reach out to OPM. Yeah, the post office, and people do different things. But Social Security doesn't. Does stock trading count as earnings? Again, it's one of those things. If that's your job, if you're a professional stockbroker, and so that's your income, then yes. If you're just kind of like a day trader and do it, and that's part of your retirement type stuff, then no. Will the work limitation rule also apply to someone whose income is tax exempt? Okay, yeah, I just answered that one. It really depends. Yes, Kathleen, yes, please hit the like button. Yes, that's how this information is found out. Lori, widowed for 1 year. How far back will my payments go back? Social Security was notified back in September. Yeah, if well, they were notified of his, I assume his passing. It really depends on what's called a protective filing date. But I would try it, and if you're after your full retirement age, they usually go back 6 months automatically. But if you contact him, if you were the one that notified them back in September, and this is about a year, so, and for some reason they dropped the ball somewhere, then yes, they have to go back there and pay you that year of back pay. But yeah, so it really depends on the protective filing. If you called them 2 or 3 months ago, and that's the first time you called them, then they will start your benefits 2 or 3 months ago when you first made contact with them. What about VA disability? VA disability in terms of work, yeah, it doesn't affect your Social Security benefits at all. It doesn't. It's not part of the annual earnings limit. It doesn't offset your Social Security benefits. No relevance whatsoever. 401 considered as income? Not for work. not for work because it's not earned income. Let's see here. All right. Injured at work 8 years ago. Hard time getting back to work because of setbacks due to this past injury. I'm 65, but holding on until for retirement age. Thinking of SSI aged. Will it be granted? Um, yeah, it depends. But you're waiting, but holding until for retirement age. So SSI aged is a welfare based program. So if you have any other money out there, income and resources, then they'll offset your welfare based benefits. SSI aged. So if you go in and say, hey, I'm 65 years old, I want to go ahead and file for SSI aged. Um, they will say, wait a second, but you have retirement benefits you can start collecting, and it's over $943, and then they'll deny you. But you can, if your Social Security benefits are only $500 from retirement, then you can apply for SSI aged, and then other income they'll look at, and they'll look at resources. If you're single, over $2,000, you won't be able to get it. Resource over $3,000 for married, you won't be able to get it. That's the resource limit. Very, very low, crazy low. But if your retirement benefit is only $500 and they approve you for SSI aged, then they'll give you another $443 from SSI aged. Let's see. Okay, what about this new so-called hack on Social Security? How will that be affected? Yeah, it was some private company, some wannabe actor started some type of company where he just went and I guess scraped all kinds of public and non-public sources and amassed this humongous database of people in the United States and Canada and the UK, and started to try to make a little business from it. And yeah, so it's happened. Yeah, I did a video on this a couple of days ago about that. So just keep an eye on your credit reports. But it's 2.9 billion. So you have a 1 in 2.9 billion chance that someone is going to start messing around with you, I guess. So I've been on disability. Okay. Yep. I just answered that one there. Let's see. Deborah, thank you for the information. Yeah, I appreciate it. Maybe you could do a single question catch up video once a month for questions you couldn't get to. Yeah, I do a lot of those on shorts. Actually, once I'm done here, I've got a couple of private calls I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do. Edwina's awesome. She's thinking inside my brain. A bunch of the questions I get from on my YouTube comments and stuff like that, I'm going to answer probably about 20 or 30 of those in like little YouTube shorts and put them on YouTube and TikTok and stuff like that. But there's just way too many questions. Assuming that a divorced spouse is qualified otherwise, would that spouse who is the caretaker of their DAC be entitled to receive money on her ex-husband's record while he is still? Wow, okay. Let me kind of parse this out. A divorced spouse who is a caretaker of their disabled adult child. So, okay, so you're not receiving any benefits as the caretaker of the disabled adult child unless you're receiving child and care benefits. Um, so the child is receiving benefits from someone else's record. If the child is receiving benefits from someone else's record, then you can file for child and care benefits that you are taking care of. You will get basically the same amount, 50% of the primary insurance amount as your adult child is receiving. But if that's not the case, or whatever the case may be, if you're you're getting benefits on your own record, yes. If your ex-husband, you were married to them for 10 years and all that kind of good stuff, if their benefit amount is more than half of your benefit amount, because you have to file for benefits on your own record first, then yes, you can file for benefits on your divorced spouse's record. And remember, they don't have to have filed for benefits. As long as your divorced spouse is 62 years old, you can file for benefits. It's called independently entitled divorced spouse benefits, and hundreds of millions of dollars is out there being lost because people don't realize that. Hello, been watching. Can I apply at 63? And if yes, how? Yeah, for retirement benefits, absolutely. You can file as soon as 62 years old. You have to be 62 the entire month, but yeah, 63, absolutely. Best way to do it, you can file online. Make sure you check your earnings record. If you don't want to file online, then call the 800 number, the 800-772-1213, and set up an appointment, phone appointment or something, and they can do it for you. Yeah, over the phone. How accurate is the system's estimated death date? Yeah, it's never. Yeah, that's what people always ask me. And it's like, yeah, when should I file for retirement and stuff like? Should I do it early or delayed or full retirement age? And yeah, you just have to make your best guess effort. How healthy you are? Do you need the money? Tax issues, the longevity in your family, and all that kind of stuff. But the one way, guaranteed, 100% accurate way to do it is to know when you're going to shuffle off your mortal coil. If you know that date, the day you pass away is I can give you a 100% guaranteed answer of when you should have filed, but then it's too late. So you just make your best guess based on all the other information. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. I got a lot of questions. I think New Mexico. Oh, there we go. Edwina, thank you for this new information. I think New Mexico pays for home caregivers to family members. Great. Awesome. Thank you for that information. All right, do one. I think. Oh, the second one. My earnings record, I saw mistakes, but they explained that but my jobs altogether from 83 to 93 in one bracket. Can they do that? Put all different employment jobs and year dates and 10. Yeah, no, that's it. Every year is different. So if you work for a job in 1983 or work for an employer in 1983, then that's the earnings for those particular year. I've never heard him putting something in one bucket. So alpha and omega, like, help others. Yes, please. Thank you. All right. Ruth, are distributions from a business considered income? I will no longer be actively working due to health issues, so will not be taking a salary, but will getting distributions. Yeah, it really depends how the IRS, you file your taxes in that particular case, but usually no. All the cases I've seen, usually no on that. But if your accountant messes up and reports it as income, currently working income, then you might have to fix that. But if Social Security, if something like that happens, and they count that against you, then you just have to go down to Social Security Administration and say, hey, that wasn't earned income. That was just distributions. I had a company, and it's kind of like kind of a royalty kind of thing that I have a company, but they said they pay me, a retirement type of pension for the next 10 years or, something like that. So you just have to explain it to them. And unfortunately, people at the front windows of Social Security never have had a business and stuff like that. So they will probably look at you a little glassy eyed. So you just have to work through it. So unfortunately. Christina, I recently applied for my early retirement Social Security benefits from Mexico, and my case went through the U.S. consulate in Mexico. I was told I am not able to get benefits because I am working. Is this true? All right, so it looks like, yeah, she went through the one of the federal benefits unit and filed because she's overseas across the border. Yeah, if you applied for retirement benefits and you're making over the annual earnings limit, way over the $22,320, they can technically, if you're making $30,000, like $10,000 over, they can start your benefits. It's just that, if you're going $10,000 over, they're going to withhold $5,000 of benefits. And let's say you start your benefits in January and you're going to be $10,000 over. So they're going to hold back $5,000 for the benefits, and your monthly benefit amount is $1,000. They're going to withhold the first 5 months. And then in June, they're going to release your benefits and for the rest of the year. So, and they will continue to do that until you tell them otherwise in terms of, I stopped working, or I'm going to make a lot more to avoid that overpayment there. Karen, husband's last 4 years of employment are in top 35 years of earnings. Took Social Security and 62. Yeah, it doesn't matter when it was. And remember, those earnings are indexed, which means when they calculate the benefits, they look at the high 35 years of earnings, and you're saying, I pumped gas when I was 20 years old and only made $20,000. So that's definitely not one of the high years. It could very well be. You made $80,000 last year, but you made $20,000 when you were 20 years old. They take that $20,000 and they index it for like an inflation wage index. And that could be worth $100,000 now and more than the $80,000 you made last year. So don't discount those early years. So yeah, the last 4 years doesn't matter in the sense they were the last 4 years or 5 years or 10 years. It doesn't matter. They look over your entire life, 35 years. I make under 22,000. The U.S. consulate also told me I can't work more than 45 hours a month. Are you self-employed? Sometimes self-employed type stuff. Yes. If you're self-employed, because yeah, self-employment is a little bit different, a little sketchy. But if because if you've had a business, sounds like, and for the first several years you don't make money at a business, but you're still working. But in terms of retirement, this used to be called questionable retirement, and Social Security doesn't do that anymore. Now, questionable retirement is, I've had many of these when they did that, where you'd have this engineer would come in, and he was an electrical engineer and he was making $80,000 a year. He had his own little firm there. And then he wanted to file for early retirement, and he just moved his earnings over to his wife, who, was not an electrical engineer. And that was a questionable retirement. He was just moving the income over to his wife, who was not an electrical engineer, had never worked for the company, in order to get his early retirement. And Social Security said, no, you can't get it because, yeah, you're not really retired. You just manipulated your income. But Social Security stopped doing that because it was a nightmare to administer. So I'm thinking, if you're receiving, if this is a disability type thing, then yeah, the number of hours you work is definitely germane to the situation. But if retirement, I would fight that one. I would fight that. And because the U.S. consulate too, they are not necessarily Social Security experts. Yeah, so I would definitely argue that one and push that one up. Or next time you're in the U.S., stop by the local Social Security office and file there. Yeah. Jim from LA, sir, with expats overseas, does the Social Security only send the annual proof of life to those expats or all recipients? Should I use a U.S. address, a foreign address in order to receive this letter? Yeah, if the Social Security Administration knows you're living overseas, the thing is, in the United States, Social Security's made arrangements with funeral homes and mortuaries and all these corner offices, that if somebody passes away, automatically notified, part of the death certificate. You got the Social Security number on there, and there's a national database. It's automatically put in, immediately goes to the Department of Treasury to stop that final check, and then Social Security is notified. But if you're living overseas, none of that happens because you're overseas. So yeah, it only sends it to people overseas. So whatever address you use for your own purposes and how long you're going to be over there and all that kind of good stuff. Yeah. For SSI, you have to work 12 months without work. Not sure. You have to have 12 months without work. Not necessarily the 12 month. I'm trying to figure out what you're getting at here. To file to be approved for any disability, your disabling condition has to prevent you from working, and your disability has to last 12 months or longer. And a lot of people mess this up and lose benefits because they say, well, once my disability lasts 12 months, then I can file for disability. No. Your disability, if you stop working yesterday because of a car accident and now you're disabled because of that car accident, and your disability is going to last 12 months. And like if you get a broken bone or you get pregnant, and that's not going to last 12 months. So that's not going to last 12 months. So maybe that's what you mean by the 12 months there. Do red flags go up with Social Security if I work part-time and on SSDI? No, it's no red flags. But when You do your taxes and the W-2 goes in there and Social Security, the computer system looks at it. And if it says, you made $2,000 in a month, then it's not necessarily a red flag. It's just they will send you a thing and, that says, hey, looks like you made $2,000 for a month or 2 months or 5 months or 6 months. So what's going on? Did you have other work experience? Expenses, it's called IRWI, income related work expense. That if, even if you're over the 1550, if you had to have some type of special system or braille system or whatever the case may be to help you do that, you can kind of discount that from that 1550. Deb, I am going to work full time until I'm 65 in 2 months. Do I need to contact Social Security at 65? The only reason you would need to contact at 65 is Medicare. So if you're working full time and you have health insurance from work and you're happy with it and they don't make you sign up for Part B and your employer has 20 or more employees, then you don't have to do anything. But if you need the Medicare to start, make sure you start. But 65 in 2 months is fine too, because to avoid the Part B penalty, you have the month you turn 65, 3 months early, 3 months after that. So a 7 month period, 3 months before you turn 65, the month you turn 65, and 3 months after that. So you're good in both of those cases. So let's see. Angela, I don't recognize Angela here. My daughter was 14 when I became disabled. Can I get back paid for half of my disability for her? Yeah, it really depends on the protective filing. My daughter was when I became disabled. So your daughter should be receiving child benefits, auxiliary child benefits based on your disability. So if something dropped, you didn't know about it, that she should have been collecting benefits for the last year or 2 years or something like that, and she hasn't because you didn't know about it, then I would definitely, you know, make sure Social Security knows about it. And they can reopen her, they call it unarchive. They can unarchive your previous claim for disability. And if your daughter's name, when you filed for disability, if you mentioned that you do have a daughter and they forgot to take a claim for it, then very well they could give you all of that back pay because that would be a protective filing. So, yes. I'm applying for SSI and SSDI. How much can I make while I'm in the application process? Um, so, you definitely need to stay under the substantial gainful activity. If you work, a bunch, 1 month or 2 months, because obviously your disability claim is going to take 6 to 9 months if you're lucky to get decided. And some people just can't. They need money. If as long as you're under the 1550, you should be all right. If you go over, Social Security can write that off as what's called an unsuccessful work attempt, a UWA, where you're like, hey, I'm just not sitting around, waiting for my disability check and eating bonbons. I really want to work, and I tried to work, and I did my best for a month, and I had made $2,500, and that was it. I was toast. Then Social Security, they can write it off as an unsuccessful work attempt and you are good. And remember, okay, so when you apply for SSI and SSDI, unfortunately, Social Security employees don't explain this very well. When you apply for disability benefits, Social Security employee, all my employees, I had close to 100 employees, and they knew they had to do this. They had to address both programs. If you're coming in there and applying for SSDI, which is what you paid FICA taxes in, the employee is also supposed to see if you're eligible for SSI, which is the welfare-based program. And then if your disability benefits is going to be $1,000 or $2,000, you got other income, or your spouse is working, then you're not eligible for SSI, the welfare-based program. And then what happens is the computer system automatically generates a letter that you get that says you're denied for disability, and everybody freaks out. What that is, you look at the top of the letter, it says supplemental security income. You were denied for the welfare-based program because you're going to make more on your own disability insurance, or your spouse is working or whatever. So please don't freak out about that. The Social Security employee should do a better job of saying, hey, you're going to receive a letter in about a week and it's going to say you're denied. That's just the welfare-based program. So yes, don't freak out about that. And Social Security employees, make sure you tell people what the deal is. But Social Security is at a low staffing, 50-year low in terms of staffing, which is an intention by people that want to destroy Social Security, is to deteriorate customer service. So we just give up and give it to Wall Street. So, all right, there's my soapbox. I don't require medical equipment to walk, but am in pain due to foot issues that are not likely to improve. Should I bother applying for SSDI? I always tell people, if you think your disability is keeping you from work, apply. Um, and you might have a foot issue or whatever, and that alone might not get it, but you take other medications which cause this or side effects of this, and so SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, that is based on all of that money that you paid into FICA all those years. So all those decades you paid into FICA, Federal Insurance Corporate Contributions Act, includes Social Security and Medicare. And the Social Security part includes retirement, survivor benefits, spouse benefits, and disability. You paid into that, just like you paid into car insurance all those decades. So if you get into a fender bender and it's like, well, it's not totaled, I'll forget about it. No, you paid that insurance, file. So same type of thing. If, watch my videos. I've done 3 or 4 videos on the entire process, how to apply, and, tips, tricks, and secrets I've learned over a few decades. All right, we're getting close to an hour. We'll do a few more here. I am thinking of filing for early retirement. I turned 62 in October. I understand my first check will be December. Would I benefit by waiting until January? Yeah, it really depends on your particular situation. But yeah, if you turn 62 in October, if you were born on the 1st, you can start in your benefits in October. But you're probably not born on the 1st, so you can start your benefits in November, and your November check will come in December. Yes, that is correct. If you're not going to be under $1,860, that month, then you have to wait till January. Then you'll have next year you have the annual earnings limit you have to deal with. But, a check early is a check early. So completely your decision. Why do they tax Social Security receive when we pay it out as tax from wages during our working years? Yeah, that's I agree. That was started in the 80s as part of the Greenspan Commission in order to, kind of shore up Social Security for all the future baby boomers. But yeah, I don't think they should have. Maybe for high wage earners that, but actually, what 40 to 50% of people don't pay those taxes. But yeah, they should be the threshold for paying it should be increased, because that we need to make sure that Social Security is here for the future. But if they get rid of those taxes, there's about $50 billion a year lost. So if you just say, okay, let's get rid of the taxes, fine, okay, whatever. But that's going to reduce benefits in the future, and it's going to be a year early that those benefits are reduced. So right now it's about 2034, 2035. That's going to bring it in about a year. You're looking at about a 17% reduction of your benefits. That might be more. So if you just say, okay, let's stop the taxes, well, what's your solution to fill that gap? And if you don't have a plan to do that, then don't do the first part. Every month you wait until 70, your Social Security goes up. That is a fact. Oh, there we go. Brenda, Oregon also pays for family caregivers. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. I understand if you move from Advantage to Supplement plan, you need to undergo underwriting. How are your answers verified if your health is good and you haven't been to a doctor for years? Yeah, it really depends on a lot of variables, but normally, yes. If you're outside of your, initial enrollment period, 65, or new to Part B and stuff like that, then yeah, you'll have to go through medical underwriting. And basically, when you talk to the person enrolling you, they just ask you about 30 or 35 questions. And if you answer no to them, then, you're good. How do they verify? Sometimes if you answer yes to some of them, and that's kind of a gray area, sometimes the health insurance company will reach out to the doctor and just confirm the level of the issue. And if it's not that big of a deal, then they go ahead and give it to you. Or they charge you more, or whatever the case may be. How do they verify it? They, again, sometimes they reach out to doctors. Most of the time they don't. They just take your word for it. But insurance companies, same everywhere in the world. Life insurance and all the rest of it. If you tell them that you're 100% healthy and you just had a heart attack yesterday, um, and you tell them you're healthy, and then you pass away next week, and they go investigate and they find out you didn't tell the truth, and guess what? You're not getting your life insurance. Whoever is getting your life insurance. So that's a yeah. Um, if you are in Nevada, only if you are a Medicaid recipient, then your family or friend can get paid for help. Otherwise, no, you have to be on Medicaid. Perfect. Another one, state of Nevada. Perfect. All right, let's go. One more question. Let's see here. I don't think I recognize. Looks like new King. Can I apply for Social Security benefits when I turn 62 while waiting for SSDI decision? It's been 9 months and still in process. There we go. Thank you. Good question. This is called a rib dib. Absolutely. Rib dib, it's called. Retirement insurance benefits, RIB, DIB, disability insurance benefits. So you can file for both at the same time because, yes, as you know, it takes 6 to 9 months at least to get your decision. And some people just can't wait that. So if you're at least 62 years old, then you go ahead and file for benefits on your own record. And while you're, that way you got money coming in while you're waiting for your disability decision. But cautionary tale or caution is if they do approve your disability, depending on when they set your onset date, when they determine you're disabled, you taking your retirement a few months early might affect your disability benefits, might reduce it a little bit, not very much, just of those, those few months. So, let's see. Thank you so much, Dr. Ed. It's hard to know where to turn for help and advice. So appreciate it. Thank you very much. Does the 8% DRC include COLA? Yes, everything always includes COLA. That's automatic. It's been automatic since the early 1970s, where they took it out of Congress used to negotiate, how much are we going to do COLA and stuff like that. They took it out of a political decision and said, the Bureau of Labor Statistics will do it. And we don't know what the COLA is going to be until, the first part of October. So anything before that is just, BS clickbait, estimates. But yeah, once COLA is decided, then the computer system goes in there and multiplies everybody in the country's benefit by 2.2 or 3.2 or 8.7 or 87.7 or whatever the case. I don't think it's going to be 87.7, but Angela, thank you. I'm new here. I just found you today in my YouTube feed. I entered information on the website and learned things I never knew. I'll be sharing videos. Awesome. Appreciate it. So you are probably going to be helping people find more money and make their life easier. So that is a beautiful thing. All right, last question. Brian, I'll be 69 in March and want to start Social Security payments. How early can I file to receive benefits in March? Yeah, a couple, 3 months early. Go online, call the 800 number, schedule an appointment, whatever the case may be. Pretty easy. Again, make sure your earnings record is correct. Go in there and set up an account, check your earnings record, make sure that all is correct. If you're in the military, make sure you have your DD-214 ready there, and everything else is pretty easy. All right, that is it for today. I appreciate y'all.